everyone, I'm Joe.
I'm Jay.
And today we're going to be reviewing Fate, the Winx Saga.
Okay.
So, the title of the first episode is To the Water and the Winds.
Why is it titled that?
I have no idea because I don't think any of that is relevant to the episode.
The episode starts off, well, we get a vibe of what the series and whatever. It's definitely not going to be kid friendly because, you know, in the first couple of scenes you see a dead animal with blood all over it hanging in the trees, and then some farmer old man who's searching for his sheep gets snatched up and murdered
by some creature.
Some creature in the woods.
It's very dark, so it sets the tone for how the series is going to be, which is the complete opposite of what the cartoon was, which was very bright, light, fun, fashionable.
Yes, the cartoon was called Winx Club, off of 4Kids.
Yep.
If you guys remember, back in way back in 2000,
early
I think
2000s.
2004 is when it aired.
Yeah. So after that scene, we're introduced to Bloom, who is supposed to be the main character of the show.
Yes.
She's at this boarding school, Althea. I don't think it's called Althea School for Fairies. That's what it was called in the cartoon.
Yeah.
But in here, it's not just for fairies because they also have...
They have fairies, both male and female, specialists, both male and female.
The specialists are people who are born in the realm. So Earth is technically a realm, but then you have magical realms outside of Earth. And they're people who learn how to fight in combat, and they're non-magical creatures. Yeah.
So basically, people who need to learn how to defend themselves because they weren't born with powers.
Yep.
Humans.
Okay, and in this scene, we also learn about fairies and them not being able to transform anymore. So in Winx Club, transforming was like a huge thing.
We are the Winx Club.
Yeah. They would have wings and everything, but in here, I guess they couldn't afford the CGI, so...
Yeah, they said something about evolution.
Yeah, they chalked it up to evolution.
Why would I go from flying to walking?
Yeah, I don't understand it.
They don't even float, at least.
No, they barely use magic. But
they look like witches to me, but
they're witches.
For some reason, the witches have
died off.
Disappeared.
I think they killed them. But then I have another theory as well, but we'll get into that later. Okay, so we're actually in the scene of Bloom walking around on campus. She looks very lost. So one of the specialists, a male student named Sky, introduces himself, and he's like, "Hey girl, you look lost." Not really, but you look lost. Do you need some help? Are you looking for the fairy building or something like that? And she chalks it up to, "Are you trying to mansplain to me?"
Yeah, it was coming off as another screw the patriarchy cringe fest that Netflix tends to do. In the scene between Bloom and Sky, you get a whole full landscape view of the entire campus and the students. The college is lifeless. There's no colors.
Yes. So
it looks very old.
My first impression was like, it's very dull, looks very gloomy. I was like, it's supposed to be very fashionable and bright, because that's what the cartoon was.
Vibrant colors.
So everybody, it was just so dull. I was like, there's no fashion on these students whatsoever. Let's talk about Tara. So we're introduced to Tara. Tara is supposed to be Flora. Flora was a main character on the cartoon version of the show. Flora was supposed to be, she was Latin.
She was coded
as being Latin.
Latina.
But Tara, her cousin, is just a Caucasian woman. No type of diversity at all with this cast, really. So Tara is also a nature fairy, as Flora was. And in the first scene, we're able to see right away she's very insecure with her body and her looks, and she's extremely socially awkward.
And that's literally Tara.
Yeah, that's her whole story. And if you're wondering why she's so insecure about her looks, she's a plus size woman, but I don't think that should be an insecure. I mean, there's so many positive, role models today that are plus size and very confident about themselves. Lizzo is an example of that. I just wish we would get past this stereotype of people who are a little bit bigger than the average size being so insecure, because a lot of them are more secure about themselves than people who are very thin. So let's get into that.
I mean, everybody has their own insecurities, but I just wish that
wasn't one of them.
When I see somebody that's plus size on screen, I would love for them to just be comfortable in their own body, and stop with this stereotype.
We are introduced to the next character, Aisha, and literally the only black female character in this whole show.
Yeah, I didn't see any other black females.
So Aisha is a water fairy.
She's a black athlete.
And she swims every day.
She's a black athlete.
Yeah.
She plays that stereotype in a college setting.
High school, college.
Man, it's set up to be like college.
But
should have just made them young adults, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
This obsession for teenagers, it's getting kind of weird. Netflix.
Yeah. And so then we're introduced to Musa. Musa is in the cartoon. She was supposed to.
She's coded to be
East
Asian. More notably Chinese.
Yeah, but in the show, I can't really tell her ethnicity really, and that's fine. But I think they could have done more to.
She's not
stay true to the cartoon per se, but they chose to go in a different direction.
She's a mind fairy, by the way.
Yes.
Musa in the cartoon was a music fairy. Yeah. Who in a way, in some similarities, Musa was also an empath in the cartoon. Okay, let's cut to Stella. Stella, just like in the cartoon, snobbyish, a princess.
But I didn't like her. Like, off the first scene, I was like, girl, you're giving me real a-hole vibes, and I'm not digging it.
I just feel as if she hangs out with the rest of the group only because they're her roommates. And if she's not hanging out with them, she's hanging out with Sky.
Sky's her ex-boyfriend, and she got really jealous seeing Sky introduce himself and showing Bloom around in that first scene I told you about when we were being introduced to Bloom. So they're all of those girls are roommates, but for some reason, Stella, this is her second year, I believe, and she's
a whole sophomore.
She's in a room with freshmen, and we haven't gotten the backstory on that yet.
But she sneaks off to Sky's room.
Yeah, she sneaks off to Sky's room and sleeps there, and just very weird. So in the next scene, Bloom is doing something with her powers, and she tries to kill Aisha. She tries to burn her up.
It was
in flames.
Okay.
Burnt.
In Bloom's defense, semi-defense, so her hands went like this, and then her magic, her fire, because she's a fire fairy, went like that.
She was like, "Stay away from me." I think Aisha was trying to help her, like, Bloom, you have to calm down. You have to calm down, because she can't control her powers. Because 5 minutes ago she thought she was a human. So
yeah. And then they have this little heart to heart. Aisha's like, "Oh, I have a difficult time."
Oh, but no, wait, pause. Time. This is after Aisha took her power. She's like, shh, took that water out the ground and just put that fire out.
Anyway.
Yeah.
This is, Aisha's all like, "Oh, I also," I'm gonna do my impersonations. "I also had a difficult time with my powers. I swam," she literally said, "I swam through human poo." I was like,
"Girl, what?
Girl,
while she's swimming in pool,
you couldn't tell me you were struggling to, I don't know, bend the rain," which low-key, literally all their powers just look like they were copy and paste from Avatar Last Airbender, in my opinion.
She's a whole waterbender.
Yes.
Actually, you know what? Nope. Aisha's not a waterbender. She's a mermaid from H2O.
Oh my god! But
oh man! But yeah, she says she swam through feces, human feces. I just had a few problems with that, because if you're supposed to be from another realm, why are you swimming through earthly being feces? Shouldn't have been a whole nother creature's feces. Why are you swimming
you know
around?
what? Why is she swimming through feces to begin with? Why was that a thing?
Okay, and so then Bloom, being the narcissist that she is, she was like, "Let me one up you. I almost killed my mom."
No, this I would just describe the scene how I saw it. Basically, Blue was going through her little teenage angst. Her parents were like, "Girl, you should get out the house," and then she was like, "Mama, you should get a life."
And she called her mama a name. I can't think of the name, but it was
It
something.
was nasty. I was like, "Ooh, child."
She called her a name. She called her mom a basic B.
And then next thing you know, her dad is like taking off the hinges of her door. She don't got no door, right? And then the next night, she's all up in her bed.
She's sitting there like this, just like this.
She looking like Sybil. she burnt her parents up.
Yeah, her mom had 3rd-degree burns. I'm surprised they're not dead, to be honest. And then she was like, "I'm gonna go sleep in a what did she say?
She went to sleep in a
warehouse because I didn't want to hurt them.
Because she's edgy.
She's a very depressed child. I don't know.
For what they never really explain. Because from what I've seen, your parents have given you unconditional love. I don't understand why you have so much dislike.
Yeah,
not hatred, but a distaste for
your parents. Yeah, I don't know. And then after that, shortly we find out that Aisha comes to the term. She's like, "Bloom, I think you might be a changeling." So I'll let you know what a changeling is. A changeling is from what I took from this episode. Is when you have a human pregnant and then a magical being pregnant, and then for some strange mystical reason the baby switched in the womb. So the human baby that her parents were having went to Bloom's real parents, and then Bloom was magically put in this womb. This is how it was explained in episode 1, but for some reason that description of a changeling changes as you progress through the series, which I found very odd.
Why didn't they just have
who wrote the script?
A baby switched at birth, like one of those.
So then we're introduced to River.
Riven.
She says Riven. I say River.
He's a specialist, right?
Yes.
He's a bisexual specialist.
And I'm glad they're not making it like it's a thing. He's just bisexual, and that's just it.
I'm just happy that we finally have a bisexual character who embraces their bisexuality.
And he's not. It's not like it's a thing you could put him down about. I am me, and you are you, and I'm gonna do me all day, boo.
Own it.
Anyway, that doesn't take out the fact that he's a big a-hole.
Okay.
So, for some reason, he just drinks around campus and no one says anything to him.
Wait, describe the scene, though, at the lunch.
Okay, so they're at lunch.
He's like, he goes to Dane.
He's like Dane, right? Dane is the only other black character that speaks, and I think the only other black character, period. So, Dane is a male specialist.
Yes.
They named him after a dog. Great Dane, but,
he's a first year.
He's a first year.
Okay.
And
he gave him alcohol. He was trying to give him alcohol. No, he did give him alcohol. He did.
He was like forcing it down his
And then Tara came out of nowhere. Was like,
"What are you doing, River?
You're forcing first years to drink liquor." Let me stop.
She uses her powers. Right? She's an earth fairy, nature fairy, and so she was like making vines come out of nowhere and choke him.
But
he called her a freak. And he called her, he said she was 3 people.
Like 3 people.
Because remember, she's plus size, but because she's insecure about it, it's like people know that's a soft spot for her. I feel like if she was like strong in who she was and didn't care, people wouldn't take that as a dig. Just like with River. River being bisexual.
Girl, Riven. I know you didn't just correct yourself. This man's name is Riven.
Like with River being bisexual and owning who he is, no one can take a dig at that.
I just wish we had a confident plus size character.
I wish she were too. Like I wish she had another insecurity. Like, oh, my magic isn't that strong or something. I don't know. I feel like they could have done more. That's so basic.
I hope her personality isn't just being an insecure big girl.
So far it is, and I'm unimpressed. So later on in another scene, we are seeing Bloom and Stella interact. And, Stella's a little jealous about Sky flirting with Bloom and Bloom possibly flirting with him. And so she sees that, Bloom's a little sad that she found out she may be changed. And he's like, I want to see my parents, da-da-da-da-da. So Stella, she's the princess of Stellaria. For some reason, she's the only princess in the show. But in the cartoon, everybody was a princess there, so that was odd. But she has this ring, and with the ring, for some reason, she can go to Earth. I don't really know why, but she can. So she gives the ring, which is a family heirloom.
It was like a crystal that came from a crown.
She gave it to Bloom.
Because she wanted Bloom
to stay away from Sky.
Stay away from my man. But at the same time, she was in such a rush for her to give her the ring back. If it was such a precious item, couldn't you have found another way to get rid of Bloom?
Just tell her, girl, stay away from my man.
I would have just said, so beyond the barrier that everybody can slip in and slip out of.
Watch out for these mystical creatures that might come get you. The burned one. They're called the burned ones.
I would have told her that, not giving her the dang ring.
So she goes off into the woods. She goes off into the woods, and then through this weird building for some reason that is like a connector between the realms.
Was it the warehouse?
Yeah. It was the warehouse. That was weird.
She was able to call her family.
It was the warehouse, and she takes the ring. And she calls her family from outside of their house. And then she's like, okay, I'm gonna cry outside in the bush, and I'm gonna go back to Althea. She goes back to Althea, and lo and behold, there is a burned one waiting to attack her.
Good.
It attacks her, but for some reason, the girl took the ring off. And she's just holding it, carrying it, and it falls.
Hold on. What do you think if it's called a burnt one, that her powers wouldn't really work?
Her powers wouldn't really work. I'm like, they're the burned ones. So they've already been burned.
I'm immune, girl.
They're immune to fire. Like, I just put two and two together. And she tried to burn them, and nothing happened.
she tried to turn them into extra BBQ.
She gets back to Althea. The headmistress is there, and she's like, Bloom, go. And then we see her use telekinesis, pushes the burn, just pushes them away. And then the door shuts.
I wish we could have seen that fight scene, though.
Yeah, what fight scene, girl? They couldn't afford it.
Like, they couldn't afford the wings. Nope. That's why they killed off all the witches. They're like, the witches are dead, so
yeah,
these are technically fairies, but without wings, because evolution, which doesn't make sense. Like I said, why would I want to go from be able to fly up in the air to walking on the ground?
Yeah. And then Bloom gets back. She's a little worried because she's like, I lost Stella's ring. Stella's upset that her ring is gone. It was like, you should come help me get it. My thing is, girl, if it was that important to you and it was such a big family heirloom, why would you give it to this girl you met 5 minutes ago? You know nothing about. For all you know, she could be a psycho.
Yeah.
Like, really. And speaking of psychos, let's get into Bellatrix.
Beatrix?
Her name is Bellatrix.
No, her name is Beatrix. Where are you getting Bellatrix from? You making up names.
Her name is Bellatrix.
Anyway, so Beatrix, Bellatrix. Like ribbon.
It's River and Bellatrix.
Oh my God.
And they're a thing, so.
No.
It's Bellatrix, I'm 90% sure.
Beatrix is based off of the Trix in the cartoon, which consists of 3 women, Stormy, Darcy, and Icy. And they are
witches.
They're all witches. But in the show, Beatrix is just one person
and she's a fairy.
Yeah, and she's displaying a part of Stormy's power, which is just the electricity.
Yeah.
Why couldn't they just do the 3 of them and have them undercover?
They couldn't afford to have any more women of color on the show. Episode 2 is titled No Strangers Here. Let's see if we can figure out why they chose that title. All right, so in the episode, we begin with Tara and her body issues.
Oh, we sure do.
Yeah.
Oh, just nasty. Hold on.
Okay, yep. So Tara, like I said, all of the girls are roommates, and Tara being insecure about her body and really just maybe wanting privacy, she went to go change in the bathroom. And for some reason, Aisha burst in the bathroom and was peeing in front of her.
She peed in front of her. Then Tara was like, can you shut the door? And she's like, I'm just peeing. And then she was showering in front of her.
That wasn't cute.
I was like, we roommates, but...
She was like, oh, what'd she say? I'm on the swim team or something?
I don't know.
This all the
do this all the time, but like... Flashing me.
I don't know.
Is
some people are happy being naked or like really comfortable.
But flashing,
I feel like
though,
she should have looked like, girl, are you really not paying that much attention that you can't see she's a little uncomfortable about bodies?
You know
that?
why
she's. That was kind of
rude. You know why? Because Aisha has no personality or awareness except for when Bloom needs help.
Yeah, that's very true.
Because so far Aisha is just being dog walked by Bloom. Unfortunately.
Smack. And then in this episode, we see Stella. This is when she starts to sleep in Sky's bedroom because she's like, I can't sleep in the room with them because they're all going to be mad at me because I sent Bloom off to Earth and etc., knowing that the dark ones were, or not dark ones, burnt ones were out there. So she sleeps in his dorm. He's roommates with River.
We just go keep having this disagreement. And about that, I'm really sick of the trope that goes like, boy is interested in the new girl but is messing with the mean girl.
Yeah.
This is 2021. That trope was so early 2000s. We don't need it. We're better than this. All of them are
just like really in the wrong here. Like Sky, you know they're roommates and you still low-key messing with Stella, so why are you flirting with Bloom? Bloom, why are you flirting with him knowing that your roommate, that's his man? And it's like you're just causing drama for yourself. But she seems like the type of girl that drama follows.
She claims to be a feminist, but her actions have so far been anti.
Yeah, she's definitely not it.
All I gotta say about Sky so far in this episode, there's numerous occasions where he's flirting with Bloom in front of Stella, even though him and Stella are obviously
off right now,
intimate with each other. They're intimate,
but they're
on and off in relationship.
Yeah, but you know,
and Stella doesn't like that.
I feel like she should just she's very passive aggressive. She should just say something, like talk to him and talk to Bloom. Just be like, girl, you're my roommate. It's my man. We're off right now. I don't know. Just say something. It's just like really weird. But you know what? I feel like even if she said something, Bloom would probably still flirt with him because she seems like that type of girl. Which is not cute at all.
Because Bloom wants the center of attention. And her and Stella,
I mean, she's a narcissist, so yeah.
That.
So River has a vape. I didn't know they have vapes in different realms. Once again, I'm so amazed with all of the earthly products that are brought upon in these futuristic realms. So confused.
One thing I have to say about that. Okay, if we want to use drugs, right, in a magical show, for example, in Witcher, Witcher is a show that has magical elements in it, blah blah blah, magical creatures. It's a fantasy show. Okay, if we want to use drugs, why didn't they allow us to see maybe one of the students creating this potion that acts like an LSD?
That would have been interesting.
That would have been really cool.
More interesting than him using marijuana.
Right, little magical mushrooms.
Right.
Potion.
That would have been more interesting.
Get a little rainbow dust.
So later in the episode, we start to see more of Musa since she doesn't really have a personality yet. And so she's
an empath. She invades other people's minds.
She does.
Without asking for their consent.
So she meets Sam. So she's been feeling his energy and with her power lately. But she says every time she turns around, she doesn't see anything. So she finally sees him. His power is like
Kitty Pryde from X-Men.
He's Kitty from X-Men. He walks through walls.
he fade shifts away.
Yeah, that's what he does. So
I'm starting to think, maybe she sensed Sam. Do you think because he's related to Tara, that's Tara's brother, and they have the same aura?
No, I don't think that's it.
See, now me. Like I said, Musa's power as a whole in the cartoon involved music, being
beats and vibrations, and she just
auras,
just all of that. But
and
this
her
girl,
being empath, she was very understanding and the most open.
That's the cartoon. This girl, the only thing she does is she can just feel your emotions.
She's very emo-y.
I mean, yeah, she doesn't have much of a personality so far.
She's like,
she just gets annoyed by
Tara.
Tara, because Tara's like, oh wait, don't you talk to me? And she's like, girl, sometimes I just want to put my headphones in, my power on break. She's like, oh well, I have a speaker, that way you don't have to put your headphones in. And she's like, girl, my headphones are so I can block out my powers. But okay. She's very sensitive.
And she went off on her. She said, Tara, you're always so, like, your toxic positivity. She doesn't say that, but that's what she wanted to say.
Yeah, Tara's positivity. She's very jolly.
She tries to put on a mask.
And I feel like, it's so fake. I'm like, girl, I understand she's trying to put on a face and be this happy person. I just like, girl, let your hair down. Can you just be you for a minute? Because I feel like she's not being herself, or it's not genuine, if that makes sense. Also, Sam is Tara's brother. We find that out in this episode as well.
Oh, I made another note about Aisha being obsessed with Bloom. Oh, this is when after they have their little lesson with their head mistress with the little pot for them to demonstrate the control of their powers.
Yes, they all do demonstrations with their powers in a circle and a big black pot in the center of the circle.
Bloom couldn't do hers, right? Mm-hmm. So she worked with Stella. Somehow figure it out.
Stella was like, the best magic or the strongest magic comes from anger and rage.
Anger, because she taps into the dark side and she's a Sith.
And then Aisha was like, why are you letting Stella... She goes through Bloom's thing. She's like, why are you letting...
she does. She's so nosy.
Like, why are you letting Stella teach you this? I don't think this is a good idea. She's like, why are you going through my thing? She's like, I was just getting dressed. It was right there. That's probably a bad accent, but whatever.
Wouldn't it make sense for a light fairy and a fire fairy to be working together?
It would, but I feel as though I still don't really trust Stella.
I don't trust Stella either.
Stella so far.
She weren't.
But it's crazy because in the cartoon, Stella and Bloom were best friends.
Right.
I don't know. It's just Bloom and the gang were they in the woods? Whatever the case was, Bloom was like, "Don't follow me."
Trying to get the ring back. Remember?
Oh, right.
Because Stella with Sky was
she was kind of trying to get the ring back. I lost my ring.
Go get my ring.
She got the ring back.
She felt it was on the burnt one.
Yeah, it was on the burnt one. They found the burnt one, and she felt some sort of connection. How did they kill this burnt one? Yeah. Well, when they got to the burnt one, a lot of the people who were going to, after the burnt one, because apparently the headmistress never killed it, she just pushed it away. It had killed a lot of people, and so I guess the trail of bodies led them to the burnt one. Something like that. Anyway, the gist. Bloom felt a connection. So, here's my theory. They're the burnt ones and Bloom is a fire fairy. So, I think that they might be from her parents or her hometown or whatever the case. Like some type of relation. And they're coming to get Bloom back. And I think she is a princess. I really do. They're coming to get Bloom back. It just makes sense. Like fire, burnt ones. I think they're related to her somehow because she has this connection to them. Towards last scenes, we see Bellatrix talking to the headmistress's assistant. And apparently, they're working together. And they said, he sent us. So he sent both of them. And now we're trying to figure out, who is he? And if he is who I think it is, it's the dude from the cartoon.
There was like two of them, right?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm about to say there was a Dark Lord.
It was a dude with a long blonde hair, and he had like a burgundy.
I want to say not. Is that with a V?
And that's the end of episode 2. If you like this video, please click that like button and subscribe to our channel, and be on the lookout for part 2.
And watch out for the burnt ones.